Good evening students and welcome back to the session. So once again I'm here with you people, and today I have thought of discussing some very good questions which I have taken from the level of JEE Mains pattern paper. Okay, so these are a set of 10 questions which I will be discussing in today's class. So without wasting any further time, let us directly move on to the very first question that is given to us, and the question is: the vapor pressure of acetone at 20 degrees C is 185 torr. So let me just write down the points. So P naught of acetone is 185 torr. Okay, and yeah, the temperature is mentioned as 20 degrees C. Now he is saying that when 1.2 grams of a non-volatile substance, so let us say the mass of non-volatile substance is 1.2 grams, of a non-volatile substance was dissolved in 100 grams of acetone. So the mass of solvent is 100 grams. Again, the temperature is given to me as 20 degrees C. Its vapor pressure was found to be 183 torr. So pressure of the solution was 183 torr. So you need to calculate the molar mass of the substance. The question is really good and easy also. So as per you can see from the data, I just have to talk about the relative lowering of vapor pressure. So we know P naught of acetone minus P of solution divided by P naught of acetone. So the relative lowering of vapor pressure is directly proportional to or is equal to the mole fraction of solute. Right? So now we just need to solve it out. So I have done the calculation for you. Let me just write down the points. So this is 185 minus 183 by 185 is equal to 2 divided by 185, and this is the mole fraction of solute. Right? So once again, if I write down 2 by 185 is equal to the given mass. So the given mass is 1.2 divided by, okay, so the better thing I should have done is I should have used the calculation of, so this is the mole fraction. So I should first have written the formula, the number of moles of solute by the number of moles of solute plus number of moles of solvent. Okay, acetone you already know could be written as CH3CO CH3, and the molar mass of acetone will be 12 into 3 because 3 carbons are there, 1 oxygen is there, so 16 into 1 plus 6 hydrogens are there, so 6 into 1. So this all if you do, so this all will be giving me the molar mass of acetone. Okay, so if I write down the number of moles of acetone or solvent will be equal to the given mass, which is 100, divided by the molar mass of acetone that I already know. Clear? Now if I solve this further, what I'll ask you to do, so this is done, 1.2 you just need to take into account. Then I'll solve it. So 2 by 185 is equal to number of moles of solute by number of moles of solute plus number of moles of solvent, which is 100 divided by molar mass. This complete thing you know, you can easily solve out the value of N. Right? Once you can solve out the value of N, N could be written as given mass by molar mass of solute. So you know the value of N, you know 1.2, you can easily calculate the answer for the molar mass of solute. Let me check the answer, and the answer that you will be getting will be 64 grams per mole. Okay, so this is the answer, and our option number B will be the correct option for this particular question. Okay. So guys, this was our question number 1 that we had chosen as the JEE Mains question. Now we need to move on to question number 2. So how I should be moving on to question number 2, let us see that into account. So question number 2, before giving you the question on screen, let me just prepare the board. So you read the question by the time I'll prepare the board more. So the question says that a molar solution. So this is a very simple question. You do not have to do any of the calculation. It's just, and you know what, this is a past year JEE Mains question. It has been asked in JEE Mains some years back. So the question says a molar solution is one that contains 1 mole of a solute. So he is just asking you to define what is 1 molar solution. So you know, right, 1 molar solution is 1 mole of solute is to be dissolved in 1 kg of solvent. That is what is the definition of molar. So see, 1000 grams of solvent, okay, is nothing but 1 kg of solvent. 1 liter of solvent, no. 1 liter of solution, no. 22.4 liters of solution, no. So directly coming to the answer, option number 1 is the correct option for this particular question. So see, this was also an easy and a scoring question. Now having done with this particular question, let us move on to our question number 3. Question number 3 says, for a dilute solution, the Reol's law states that. So what is Reol's law? So he is talking about relative lowering, right? So you know, right, that relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of the solute. That means P naught minus P of solution divided by P naught is equal to mole fraction of solute. Let me start reading each and every option and then we'll see. So he is saying for a dilute solution, the Reol's law states that the lowering of vapor pressure, no. Reol's law is basically concerned about the relative lowering. So A is not the correct option. The relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of solute. That is correct. Let's read the third statement. The relative lowering of vapor pressure is proportional to the amount of solute in the solution. Although I agree it is proportional, but the final statement of Reol's law was that it is equal to the mole fraction of the solute, right? Like we cannot say more will be the, so simply talking in terms of mass will not give me the answer. And the third, the D part is the vapor pressure of the solution is equal to mole fraction of the solvent, totally a wrong option in terms of Reol's law. So for the Reol's law, the obvious statement is option number 2. Fine. Once again, an easy and interesting question. So this was our question number 3. Now we need to move on to another question, which is question number 4. Okay, so this is our question number 4, and the question says that consider separate solutions of, so there are a few solutions which are given to you, you have to consider separate solutions of. First is 0.500 molar ethanol solution. Okay, cool enough. Then is 0.100 molar, so point number 2 is 0.100 molar Mg3 PO4 twice aqueous solution. The third that is given to me is 0.250 molar KBr aqueous solution, and the fourth solution that is given to me is 0.125 molar Na3PO4 aqueous solution, and all the solutions are given at the same temperature, 25 degrees C. So he is saying which statement is correct about those solutions assuming all electrolytes to be strong electrolytes. So when by himself he is saying that all the electrolytes that have been given to you are strong electrolytes, that simply means first of all you have to take into account the Vence-Hoff factor. So the Vence-Hoff factor for ethanol is 1, because ethanol is an organic substance, it will not undergo dissociation in water, like not 100% dissociation. Moving on to Mg3PO4 twice. So we have Mg3PO4 twice will form 3Mg2 plus 2 PO4 3 minus. So making it a total of 2 plus 3, 5 ions, right? So if Vence-Hoff factor is 5, so 5 ions will be obtained. So what will be the overall concentration? The overall concentration will be 5 into 0.100. This implies 0.500 molar. So it appears as if the particles are having a total concentration of 0.500 molar. Now moving on to KBr. From KBr you can say what is Vence-Hoff factor? K plus plus Br minus. Vence-Hoff factor is 2. So making it the overall solution appears to be 0.500 molar. And then we have Na3PO4. So we will have 3 times Na plus PO4 3 minus. So a total of 1 plus 3. 4 ions are there. So when 4 ions are there, multiplied by 4, making it a total of again 0. Okay. Now you talk about any of the colligative property, whether it is elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, osmotic pressure or relative lowering of vapor pressure. They were directly dependent upon the total number of particles in the solution, right? So since the total number of particles in the solutions are actually having the concentration 0.500, 0.500, 0.500, 0.500, the concentration in all the 4 cases is same. So when I am saying the final concentration in all the cases is same, so I can simply say that they all will have the same value of osmotic pressure. Okay, so this is correct. Let me still read all the options. 0.100 molar Mg3PO4 twice has the highest osmotic pressure? No, same as others. This much has the highest osmotic pressure or this has the highest osmotic pressure? No. So the only obvious answer is that since all of them are having exactly the same value of the total number of particles in the solution, so I can say that they are having the same value of the colligative properties also. Fine. So this was a pretty simple question. Now having done this question also, we can move on to question number 5. Let me prepare the board and then we'll come on to the next question. And question number 5 says, when mercuric iodide is added to aqueous solution of potassium iodide, let us see, mercuric iodide, Hgi2. So see, mercury exists in 2 oxidation states, mercurous, mercuric. So mercurous is plus Hg plus 1 and mercuric is Hg plus 2. So we have mercuric iodide Hgi2 is added to an aqueous solution of potassium iodide Ki. It will be leading to the formation of K2HgI4. So a complex is formed that you must be knowing. Okay, so now I will say when mercuric iodide is added to an aqueous solution of Ki, it will form K2HgI4. Let me just balance. This is the balanced chemical equation that I will be getting. So we have Hg, 4 iodines, 2 potassiums are there, and here also we have the same thing. So we have K2, Hgi2 plus 2 Ki to form K2Hgi4. Now my question is, what will happen? Whether the freezing point will increase or the freezing point will be lowered, the freezing point doesn't change and the boiling point doesn't change. So for sure I will say that when you are adding, so see, let us say this Ki, which is an aqueous solution, now this aqueous solution is there, so you are getting the molecule. So earlier what was the Vence-Hoff factor? If you can see, the Vence-Hoff factor, the total number of ions in the solution are changing. Now see how many ions are there? You will get 2 potassium plus Hgi4 2 minus. So 1 ion plus 2 ions. Now you are getting a total of 3 ions, right? So since you are getting a total of 3 ions, let us figure out earlier how many ions were there. So earlier you had 2 potassium, 2 iodine. So earlier you were having a total of 4 ions. So now, and Hgi2 was not ionic, it was not getting dissociated. So now you can see, since the number of ions in aqueous solution is changing, so the freezing point will change as well as the boiling point will change. So these options are saying they will not change, it's a wrong answer. Now see, since we know that, so see, we already know, no, that delta Tf is equal to Kf into molality into I. So since I can say that the number of ions in the solution is decreasing, so I will simply say that there will be an increase in, so you can simply say that the freezing point will be raised. Okay. So this is the final answer to this particular question, that the freezing point will be raised when Hgi2 will be added to an aqueous solution of aqueous Ki. Okay. So this was our question number 5. Now we need to move on to the next question, which is question number 6. So moving on to our next question, question number 6. It says that during the depression of freezing point. So we know, right, when a non-volatile solute is added to a volatile solvent, there will be elevation in boiling point and there will be depression in freezing point. So during the depression of freezing point in the solution, the following are in equilibrium. So when something is freezing out, let us say you have a solution, okay, where some non-volatile solute is added to the volatile solvent. Okay. So you can say that you have aqueous solution of NaCl, where NaCl is a solute and water is a solvent, and you are freezing it. So genuinely we will not be considering the freezing of solute, we will just be saying the liquid solvent, the pure liquid solvent will now be coming in equilibrium with the solidified solid solvent. So he is saying which of the following are in equilibrium. Let's start from bottom. So he is saying the liquid solute and solid solvent will come in equilibrium. No, I am saying whenever freezing will be done of solvent, not of solute. Liquid solute, solid solute. Again, there is nothing to be talking about solute. Okay. Then liquid solvent, solid solute. So wherever you see solute, it's not the answer. Liquid solvent, solid solvent, correct answer. Okay, so this is how option number A could be taken as the correct answer for this particular question. Okay, so this was our question number 6. Now we need to move on to the next question, which is our question number 7th. So here there is another question, question number 7th. The question says that the molecular weight of benzoic acid in benzene as determined by depression in freezing point method will correspond to what? Now see, so I am saying there is a depression in freezing point when benzoic acid is taken in benzene and there is a depression in freezing point. Now see, why is there a depression in freezing point? Now you know, right, this thing we have already done in organic chemistry also, that this benzoic acid will combine with another molecule of benzoic acid in the presence of benzene as solvent. So see, when you will be taking benzene as solvent, it will combine with benzoic acid and it will lead to the formation of a dimer. Okay, so it is basically because of dimerization that the number of particles, so I will be 1 divided by 2, you can take I as half. So see, so there is a depression in freezing point because of ionization of benzoic acid, no. Dimerization of benzoic acid, yes, it doesn't form the trimer, and no solvation also. Okay, so solvation will be when benzoic acid will be added to water, but right now benzoic acid is added to benzene, so it will just form a dimer, and thus because of the dimer formation there will be a depression in freezing point. Okay, so this was totally related to our question number 7th. Now let me once again prepare the board so that we can move on to another question. Which is our question number 8. So, to show you the question number 8, the question says, the freezing point in degree C of the solution containing, so there is a solution which contains 0.1 grams of K3FeCN6, very nice, the molar mass is given to you as 329 grams per mole and it is prepared in 100 grams of water. And the Kf of water, since you know, is water, so 1.86 Kelvin kg per mole. Okay, now see, we can say that, so this is given to me, now he has asked you to calculate the freezing point. Okay, so we know, right, we can simply write delta Tf is equal to Kf into molality, but please do not forget to take into account the Ventzoff factor I. Now delta Tf I need to calculate is equal to I. Now what is K3FeCN6? So when you will take an aqueous solution of K3FeCN6, this will lead to the formation of 3K positive plus FeCN6 with a negative. So making it a total of how many particles? 3 plus 1 divided by 1, so 4. So value of I will be 4 into 1.86 Kelvin kg per mole divided by molality. So molality is basically defined as given mass divided by molar mass by mass of solvent in kilograms, right. So if you do the calculation, so let's see, this is kg, so this is kg, this is gram, this is gram, this is per mole, this is per mole. You solve, you will get delta Tf is equal to 4 into 1.86 into 0.1 into 10 to be divided by 329 Kelvin. Okay, and now you know, right? So the water, simple water, will freeze at 0 degrees C or 273 Kelvin. So for this question number 8, if you solve it, you will be getting the answer. So one more thing which you can take into account, this delta TF could be taken in degree C also, because it is just the difference. So on solving, you will get the value of water of the freezing point as minus 2.3 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 degrees C. So this is the freezing point of the solution. Okay, so we have the options minus 2.3 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 degrees C. Fine. So this is how we could have solved our question number 8 also. Fine. Now since we are done with question number 8, we are left with 2 more questions. So let me first prepare the board for another question, which is question number 9. So let us move on to the next question, which is question number 9. This says that the elevation in boiling point, that means delta TB, when 13.44 grams of a freshly prepared CuCl2 aqueous are added to 1 kilogram of water. And so you need to just tell me what is the elevation in boiling point, and the molecular weight of CuCl2 is given to me as, so there must be some, it should be 134.4 grams per mole, and the Kb is also given to you. So that's it, you need to do the value of delta Tb, which is simple again. So you can say delta Tb is equal to I into Kb into molality. My humble request, please don't forget about this I. So since CuCl2 is ionic, it can undergo dissociation to form Cu2 plus 2Cl minus. So the value of I will be 2 plus 1, 3. Okay, and if I substitute the value, delta Tb I need to calculate. So 3 into Kb is 0.52 Kelvin kg per mole divided by molality. Now molality could be given as given mass 13.44 grams by molar mass by mass of solvent in kg, which is 1 kg. 1 kg, kg, so per mole, grams, grams, you can solve it and you can simply get the elevation in boiling point, which is delta Tb. So if you want me, I can check out the answer for this question, and so this particular question will have, so the elevation in boiling point when this gram of this, so the final answer will be coming out to be 0.156. So you can approximate to 0.16. Okay, so that was our question number 9. So finally, we can move on to the next question, which is question number 10. So question number 10 simply says that when 20 grams of naphthoic acid since it's an organic acid C11H8O2, you don't have to be concerned about its dissociation. This is given to me as 20 grams is dissolved in 50 grams of benzene. The Kf is given. So now see, the Kf value is different because this time the Kf value is given for benzene as a solvent, not water as a solvent. So it is given to be 1.72 Kelvin kg per mole, a freezing point depression of 2 Kelvin. Delta TF is equal to 2 Kelvin is observed, the Vence-Hoff factor is. So you just need to calculate the value of Vence-Hoff factor. See, easy enough, because since we had no idea about this, so he is now asking us to calculate the value of I. So once again I will use delta TF is equal to I into Kf into molality. So delta TF is 2 Kelvin is equal to I don't know, multiplied by Kf is 1.72 Kelvin kg per mole divided by molality is given mass. Now since the formula is given to you C11 H8O2, so you can do 11 into 12 plus 8 into 1 plus 16 into 2. Whatever the answer comes, let me write it to be x grams per mole by mass of solvent in kg, which is 50 divided by 1000 kg. Okay. Now see, Kelvin, Kelvin, kg, kg, mole inverse, gram. So you will simply be getting the final value of, since x is known to you from here, you can calculate the final value of I. And if you want, let me check the answer. The final value of I will be coming out to be 1 by 2 or 0.5. Okay, I can just write down the answer here. Okay, so first part is the answer, 0.5. Fine. So guys, this was a set of 10 questions that I had taken just corresponding to JEE Mains level. So here, as you would have seen, I have tried to cover each and every simple aspect, like related to osmotic pressure we have done, related to Vence-Hoff factor we have discussed, related to elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, relative lowering of vapor pressure. So all these 4 or 5 colligative properties we had discussed in this particular session. So from this particular session, I think it must be very clear to you that yes, these colligative property questions are not very tough. So you just have to shuffle the values and all, so they are not that tough, but yes, they are asked in JEE Mains. Okay. So this was how we could have solved each and every question corresponding to JEE Mains. Now what you have to do, once you watch the recordings, once you are already prepared with the entire chapter, you can do me a favor. Take the past 38 years book, okay. So when you take the past 37 or 38 years solved book for JEE Mains and Advanced, from that pick up like any 20 questions for this particular chapter. Sit properly, I mean no one should be there in the room, you should not be having headphones in your hair, in your ears, and you should not be listening to songs. Concentrate properly, note down the time, how much you take, like how much time is needed for you people so as to solve those 20 questions. And also try to give a marking of +4 and -1 and let me know how many marks will you score in that particular paper. Okay. So the same way as JEE Mains has been discussed, in the next video lecture I will be discussing JEE Advanced and NEET also. So prepare a little more so that we can discuss a little high level questions also. So that's it for today. Thank you for the class. We'll meet you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.